This is the Republic Attack Shuttle, a set with 363 pieces and 3 minifigures, all for $60 back in 2009. Which, for those of you old enough to have lived through these sets, I really wish I didn't say that out loud. It's crazy to me that people born in 2009 could be 14 right now. As far as I'm aware, everyone born from about 2002 to 2010 should still be 8. I'm not a huge fan of growing up. I'm only 22, but I feel old. But for those of you old enough to have lived through that, 2009 was an insane year for LEGO Star Wars. Coming off the hype of the Clone Wars show, there was a ton of new material to make sets about. I'm just gonna rattle off a few. The Corporate Alliance Tank Droid, Ahsoka Starfighter, Count Dooku Solar Sailor, the Pirate Tank, Home One Mon Cala Cruiser, the Mini-Scale Falcon, the fan favorite Clone Walker Battle Pack, the Assassin's Droid Battle Pack, Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, the Droid AAT, this Republic Attack Shuttle, the Separatist Shuttle, Anakin's Y-Wing, the Battle of Endor, the Venator Class Cruiser, the Republic Dropship with AT-OT, and my all-time favorite set and ship, the Tana V4. And not including Polybags, Con Exclusives, or the 3-in-1 Super Pack, that was 17 out of the 19 box sets released for LEGO Star Wars in 2009. So if that gives you any indicator, 2009 was an amazing year for LEGO Star Wars. I'd like to cover and modify many of those sets that I just listed. I already have quite a few of them that are already modified from many years back, but that's not quite up to my standard nowadays, so I'll have to revisit them. But today we're looking at the Republic Attack Shuttle. This set is based on the new class shuttle seen in the Clone Wars, and I believe it's seen in the Bad Batch, but make no mistake, this is not the same shuttle that we've seen recently in the Bad Batch. That is the Row class shuttle. As mentioned, this Republic Attack Shuttle set has 636 pieces, and it comes with 3 minifigures, with 1 standard Clone Wars style Phase 1 clone trooper and 1 clone pilot. And to top off the minifigure selection, we have one of the most horrifying Clone Wars style minifigures, Mace Windu. But despite how bad this minifigure is, it's still not as scary as Chancellor Palpatine. Now the ship itself I think is magnificent. Despite the build and the techniques being very of its time, I still think it holds up today for the most part. This cockpit section is the main issue that most people have with this set, being that it's incredibly undersized. And despite how good I think this cockpit looks, that's absolutely true. This cockpit is very long and narrow, whereas the one on the new class is very large and bulky. But I completely understand that sometimes LEGO has to shrink down certain parts of ships to make them actually work as playsets, and I think I have a theory as to why LEGO did it. I'm guessing that LEGO couldn't make the proper size work with a front loading ramp like the ship has in Universe, while still checking off every other guideline that we don't know about in order to qualify this as an official set and be made into a product. It could have been stability issues, it could have been structural issues, it could have been a myriad of things. I'm willing to bet that they tried it, but this is probably the best solution that they came up with. However, despite the undersized cockpit, they still managed to make it accurate, being able to hold 1 pilot and 1 co-pilot. The set only comes with 1 pilot clone, but you can just pretend the other one is a pilot, right? That's just a little joke, really. I don't like to harp on that topic, but if you know, you know, and if you don't worry about it. The pilots are sitting in some standard LEGO seat pieces, and when they're tucked in there and the cockpit is closed up, it does get a little bit cramped, but so long as you lean the minifigures all the way back, it looks a little bit better. And if you weren't quite paying attention, the way that the cockpit opens on this set is one of the most satisfying ways LEGO has ever done it. If you grab on the windscreen and pull forward, this entire front assembly folds down, and then you can pull back this rear piece to get plenty of finger space in and around your minifigures. Super simple and smooth, and easily one of the most satisfying ways you can close up any LEGO set. On the outside of the cockpit on either side, we have these cannons that can rotate 360 degrees. In Universe, these are actually ball turrets that could fold out and go in a wider range of motion, but for the sake of the LEGO set, they only go 360. But then flanking these on either side, we have some larger cannons attached to the main body of the ship, leading into the wings here. And these wings can get folded up and down surprisingly easily. It's incredibly smooth, and despite there being no hinges, they seem to stay in place and they don't seem to sag. And I'm sure that's dependent on the quality of your Technic pieces on the inside, but my model is surprisingly sturdy. Even holding the wings at weird angles like this, it doesn't seem to sag relatively quickly. This is the kind of mechanism that I think we would see hinges on nowadays. The wings are a really solid build with plenty of Republic red and a little bit of yellow on the edges there to match the yellow seen on the cockpit up front. And before starting this video, the Sentinel class shuttle was easily my favorite in all of Star Wars, but after seeing this set with the wings folded down, I'm feeling a kind of way about the new class shuttle that isn't really appropriate for my YouTube channel. Moving on from the wings and then continuing up the side of the ship, we have a little bit of white armor plating and detail represented with some of these white sloping pieces in here. And for the past many years, I always thought that the inclusion of these white pieces randomly around the ship was rather inaccurate, and I thought it was kind of ugly. But after looking at this picture of the new class shuttle in the Clone Wars, you can see that there are some darker panels that are gray that I've seen some wear and tear, and then some newer panels and pieces that were probably replaced pretty recently, so they're still white and they look brand new. Despite that though, these are probably going to get changed to gray in the mod video. But following the side armor plating up to the top middle, we have one of the biggest play features seen in this set. And it's this 7-round clip-fed flickfire missile mechanism. You trigger these missiles by pressing in on this little bumper in the rear, and then when the clip is empty, it falls right out of the bottom of the ship. And then also on the underside, we have these large white pieces representing some static landing gear. It works for the most part, but the head still rests on the ground whenever it's landed. The wings and the engine still have a little bit of clearance here, but it's interesting to me that they made the landing gear so short that the head still rests on the ground. But this Flickfire missile mechanism is a really clean function, and it makes use of a Lego rubber band on the inside. You can see the entire mechanism with the roof folded down on the top of the interior cabin. Here's that bumper in the rear that runs into these Technic pieces that then flicks the missiles out the front. This is an incredibly clean function and probably one of the best uses of Flickfire missiles. Even for the sake of this video, I wasn't able to get this to jam, but I'm willing to bet that's also dependent on the quality of your rubber band on the inside. And underneath the thumper for the Flickfire missiles on the rear, we just have the main engines on either side with the secondary engines in the middle, and we have these small Technic bits at the bottom that attach to a play feature that we'll see inside later. And you gotta give Lego credit, they at least tried to make it look pretty. They had a little bit of greebling with these two grill pieces and then these vented cheese slopes. And then we've got this exposed Technic assembly that allows the roof to hinge back. And the roof to this shuttle is actually locked in on this set, so when you're playing with it, you can grip it by the roof and it's not going to fall apart. To unlock it, simply fold out these assemblies on either side, and then it folds up the roof and you have full access to your interior space. And now we can get a much better look at the interior space, and you can see those extra play features that I teased at earlier. Those Technic pieces I pointed out on the backside actually allow these bottom plates to fold open and you can drop bombs. And interestingly enough, you don't have to open the set to load in the second bomb, it auto loads it for you. A very simple and effective feature accomplished by a simple mechanism as well. But of course the interior space has more to offer than just bombs. Up front you have a third chair piece so you can seat Mace Windu on the inside, and then in the rear there you can see we're holding two of the clone's blasters, and then on either side you can clip in a lightsaber. With the blasters in place, you unfortunately lose access to these four studs as minifigure space, but you can very easily remove them and then slot in another minifigure. And even with Scorch's large backpack, this roof still folds down and locks in place all the same. We'll definitely improve the amount of minifigure space that's in here in the mod video, but for the sake of it being a playset, I think they accomplished it pretty well. And I think the different bombing features and the Flickfire missiles make up for the lack of minifigure space on the inside. Easily one of my favorite sets of 2009 with a ton of modding potential, so make sure you leave your suggestions for any mods down below. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that mod video, and let me know if you guys would like to see some other LEGO themes on this channel, because I'm pretty sure I just completed my biggest alternate build ever using 2 creator sets. And more specifically on that, do I have any Assassin's Creed fans on the channel? But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any suggestions for any alternate builds or mods that you'd like me to do to this set or any other, make sure you leave those down below. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace, fellas.